Hello everyone, Namaskaram. Welcome to my channel VPK Nutrition, Mind Body Healing with Pushpa. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a very interesting topic, communication and relationships, and as it relates to our doshas or body type. Now again, we know one of the biggest things that gives us joy in life is having healthy, beautiful relationships to enjoy with. And at the same time, these are the same things that also cause a lot of stress when we don't know or don't have a proper communication or relationship with someone else. Because this reaches our deep emotional health, our spiritual health as well. So Ayurveda gives us some tools to understand each and every person and the way they communicate, why they communicate the way they do, and also gives us an insight into our own nature and how we understand or receive things from others. So this is the kind of information that I'm going to share today, and hopefully at the end of the video you will learn more about yourself, how you communicate with others, and why your relationship may not be optimum and how you can actually improve them. So stay tuned to find out more. Welcome back, everyone. First of all, I want to thank all of my viewers and subscribers for watching regularly and giving me feedback. For those who haven't already done so, please do consider subscribing. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, and then also share with your friends and family so they can also be benefited from the information that I share. Let's get started with today's topic. So in the beginning of of last year, I actually shared a video on body types, describing in detail how each of those body types act, they have personality, their body frame, digestion, dealing with stress, imbalances, sleep, etc. So if you haven't watched it or you need a refresher, I would suggest you go and watch that just to understand more about the body types. And again, I will share the link in the description, and it will give you a good refresher in understanding the body types, whether it is your own body type as well as somebody you're interacting with in your life. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about specifically about the three doshas, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, and their communication styles, which are influenced by the elemental composition of their body. Because in Ayurveda, all of us are made of the 5 elements, starting from air, space or ether, air, fire, water and earth. And each of us, each body type is dominated by 2 of the 5 elements, although they have all 5. So naturally we pick up the qualities of these elements, and that influences not just how we look and how we digest our food, but also how we digest our thoughts and how we communicate with others and how we react to stress in our lives. So I'm going to go through these one by one. Number 1, Vata dosha. This is dominant in the elements of air and space. So they take on their qualities, which is subtle, light, dry, cold, mobile, moving all the time, sometimes rough and also flowing. Now, when it comes to a balanced Vata, they're usually very, very enthusiastic. They're the ones with full of ideas, bubbling with ideas constantly. So they're very creative people. Now, in conversation style, because of all the mobility and ideas, they're very, very talkative. They have a lot to say, and they also talk very fast. So in a party, you'll see they're the life of the party. They're constantly talking and coming up with so many things, and then they can keep on jumping around from subject to subject. They don't stick to one thing. And also, if they're trying to communicate something to you, like say in a meeting or whatever, then they would actually bounce around like a whole story going off in so many different directions. But finally, they will arrive at the conclusion with clarity, but it takes us some while to get there. Not everybody has the patience for that. When it comes to the dry and cold qualities of Vata, which is usually seen in a Vata dominant person or a person with an imbalance, is when they talk to someone else, they don't really pay attention to the listener as much because they're just talking, and then they seem to lack a connection or a compassion for the other person. They're not connecting with their heart, but more like words coming out of the mouth, but it's kind of coming superficially and not from the heart. So this is very noticeable if you are a sensitive person. And talking about sensitivity, they're actually very, very sensitive as well, because air picks up everything along its way. They also pick up subtle signals, subtle things energetically, not from the words, or sometimes in the words can affect them. And so they might get very defensive. And especially if your Vata is imbalanced, you will be misinterpreting what somebody's saying, misunderstanding, or jumping to the wrong conclusions. So again, there are a few things a Vata person or a Vata imbalanced person can do to improve their communication style. So what can we do to improve a Vata personality, conversation style, or an imbalance? So number one is slow down. Take a breather if you're talking too much or talking too fast, and then try to stick to the subject that you started with. Number two, practice active listening. So listen to the other person with genuine interest, and also remember what they're saying and respond maybe after taking a pause. Number three, don't take things personally. Now, if you see your sensitive nature is coming up and you're getting defensive or getting agitated within, hit the pause button and ask the other person for clarification so that you don't jump to conclusions or have any misunderstanding. So try to practice these three things if you identify with a Vata nature. Number two, Pitta. Pitta is dominant in fire and water elements, so they take on the properties of these two elements. So first of all, very hot, liquid in nature like the lava, sharp, subtle again, and also flowing in nature, and a little bit of wetness. So the balanced Pitta is usually very passionate about their subjects. They're very intense. They love to talk about things that they know, and they also love to share their knowledge and present a big picture and educate people. So they're very free in giving to others. So this is the light of Pitta shining through them. Now in conversation, you will see that they're very, very straightforward, straight shooters, all black and white, and very sharp in bringing out their point. At the same time, the sharp tongue, when imbalanced Pitta, is also relevant to them, and this is the type A personality that you see in your lives. Now also, when it comes to subjects, they like certain subjects they're very passionate about, and so they will kind of talk about that more than anything else. Sometimes they are like the Vatas, where they give a big picture, but at the same time they're so intensely focused on only that subject at hand. So this can be a little bit too much for some people, especially for a Vata. It would be really hard because they're not used to that kind of intensity. If the Pitta gets too imbalanced, then the argument can turn into a fight. They can sound very harsh and lack compassion. They can also get very angry, irritable, become very critical and judgmental, and completely lash out, pushing the other person away. If you identify with a Pitta person or a Pitta imbalance, there are three things that you can do. Number one, sweeten the tone of voice. So if you find you're speaking very harshly, then be mindful of that and slow down your tone of voice, make it sweeter and softer. Number two, speak with compassion. Now again, if you sound very harsh and the other person's expression shows you that, then pay attention to where your words are coming from and speak with compassion for the other person. Number three, leave the argument. Now, if you see yourself getting into a very heated argument which is going nowhere, then take a time out, relax your mind, and then regroup. So these are some things that you can follow. Again, be mindful that these things are happening when it is happening, so you can help yourself. Number three, Kapha nature. Now, Kapha again is dominant in earth and space elements, the heaviest elements. So they take on those properties. First of all, it is heavy, cold, dull, wet, firm, smooth, soft, sticky, and gross. So when it comes to a balanced Kapha, they're naturally very loving, kind, compassionate people. So their conversation style also reflects that. So they speak very softly with a very sweet voice. They talk very slowly, gently. So it's pretty calming when you listen to them. The heavy quality of earth and water also makes them very contemplative, deep thinkers. but they do not really vocalize. So they speak very few words. They don't communicate a whole lot. They don't share any ideas or anything like that. But usually their interest is always in the mundane, day-to-day things. They're not interested in vast subjects or delving into things too much. But if they do that, they can actually retain a lot because they have a great memory. Now, when it comes to an imbalanced kapha, however, they because they don't communicate their feelings and thoughts, they tend to internalize a lot of their thoughts and emotions. They could be holding on to a lot within. So this can lead to depression in them. They don't communicate their feelings, and so they could, if they get hurt by somebody, they might even just stop talking to them, give them the silent treatment, because they don't know how to deal with this kind of interaction. So as you can see, the calm nature of kapha can be very soothing for the vata and pitta. However, not communicating can be very frustrating as well for another person. If you identify with a kapha nature or have a kapha imbalance, try these 3 tips. Number 1 is try to vocalize your emotions and thoughts more, and do not assume things and internalize them, because this can lead to a lot of misunderstanding and unnecessary conflicts in relationships. Number 2 is try to be more enthusiastic in your speech. Again, make the conversations light, keep them very light, like doing a little bit of small talk, which will lighten the mood. Number 3, be mindful and also be open-minded to listen to other people's ideas instead of being stuck in your own and digging even deeper into your own ideas. This will broaden your mind, expand your mind, and also give you more things to talk about. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Just to give you a little bit of a recap, remember, this is not about judging another person, but this is to just understand your own personality, if you're a vata, pitta, kapha style. Now again, you can also have 2 different communication styles, because a lot of us are dual doshas. So whatever it is, the relationships, when you're living by yourself or not interacting with anybody, then you're generally more balanced, because there's nobody really challenging your way of thinking or talking. However, when you're in a relationship and communicating with somebody else, that's when your mind is tested, your conversation, your communication, all of those things are tested. So when you have more difficult relationships, that actually highlights what are the areas that you need to work on. So because a relationship is a mirror of yourself. So again, take that opportunity to learn more about yourself. It gives you insight into who you are, and try to change yourself in such a way so the future interactions are much better, because the healthier the relationship, the healthier you're going to feel, body, mind, and soul. So I'm going to leave you with 3 practice tips for this week. Number 1, understand your nature, your communication style, and how to bring balance to yourself. Number 2, observe how you react in difficult or stressful situations and write it down to understand what triggers you. Then you can be better prepared next time. Number 3, observe the communication styles and reactions of others in your body as an experiment to guide you improve your own nature. So this must have felt like a psychology course to you. However, Ayurveda always believes in holistic system, and the relationships are a huge part of our life, the relationship with ourselves as well as with the others around us. And as long as you keep that healthy, your body, mind, and spirit are going to be healthy as well. So next week, I'm going to share some scenarios of interactions between the different body types and how they can be improved. So make sure you tune in next week to watch more. So for this week, practice what I've talked about. Have a wonderful week ahead. Again, remember, listen to your body, observe your mind, and help yourself. See you all next week, and have a wonderful week.